You ever heard this before? You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
You ever heard this before?
Another fire-ass beat from East Madison.
Right. So here we go. Bringing it back live again, once again. Welcome back to another Ariaswave YouTube live stream. Just getting a few things in order. Please be advised that this may not start 100% the way that it should. It's been a little while. So, yeah, once we get a few people on board, get a few chats happening, say hello, welcome back. It's been a while. Do you want to know what's happening in the markets? It's the time is now. So get cracking. Welcome back, Matthew Fraser, a long time. Good to see you. That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Times have changed, including my haircut. It's a bit of a crew cut there, getting ready for what's coming. So it's about time that things started happening, you know, like basically my view has changed in, you know, let's take it back a few steps. I was bullish at one point, became bearish at the right time, and then, well, you know, now there's a different view. Now I can see clearly what is coming ahead. And what's coming ahead is definitely something that you probably won't expect because of what you're being told in the media these days, what's happening on MSM reports of, you know, there's a hurricane coming ahead, there's a storm ahead for the markets. We're looking for recessions left, right, and center. Inflation is picking up, all that type of stuff. And I totally understand. That's definitely the narrative. But what about the waves? What about the waves and what's happening with the waves? Now, that's definitely a part that I want to talk about address tonight. And I'm going to do it in a way that I have been putting out there on the videos recently. And it basically paints a different picture than what you've been hearing. There's a lot of misinformation going on right now. And it all stems back to when the Federal Reserve was created, right? The Federal Reserve was created by the richest people on the planet at the time. You know, like the top 6 richest people helped draft the Aldrich Report or the Aldrich Act, and nobody wanted to believe that. And then they renamed it the Federal Reserve Act, and then did it on a day when everybody was, you know, banking holiday, no one was around. They passed that Federal Reserve Act and literally gave power of the monetary supply in America to an independent corporation, which is running everything today. Yeah. Media slant is ferocious these days. That's right. And everything is based on what they want you to think. Okay. So everything that you hear these days is based on what they want you to hear. But on the other side of things, they're buying the dip, right? They're telling you it's game over, but they're buying the dip. See, that's the problem. That's why you should never listen to mainstream media, because mainstream media is the problem. right? So ignore the mainstream media. Just totally ignore it. Zero hedge, all that stuff. They're all reporting on these bankers, right? They're all just, allowing them to speak their words, but those words mean nothing. They literally mean nothing at all. So, yeah, they're telling you to sell, but they're buying everything, right? And when I show you, as if you haven't seen my previous video, when I show you exactly what's going to happen, right, according to the waves, then you're going to see that we're literally about to enter one of the biggest bull markets in history. And that's going to pump everything to the max. Everything is going to go straight up, right? Call it inflation, call it people getting into assets because, they don't want to hold cash. They don't want to hold these real estate assets, which interest rates is going to start to cause them to drop. And you're probably going to see a lot of supply in the market when it comes to real estate. Interest rates is going to do that. I mean, I've been predicting this for a long time now. I've been keeping quiet for a while, but the truth is that now you're seeing it. You're seeing interest rates start to go through the roof. The 10-year yield is starting to go up, right? I expect it to go up to like 10, 20%. So why can the stock market and cryptos go up? And that's the whole point, is that this is not the first time this has happened. As I mentioned in my previous video, right? 1941, interest rates record low, all the way to 1981. Now, what happened during that time? The markets went up, right? So just because interest rates go up doesn't mean the stock market doesn't go up. And we all know cryptos are correlated with the stock market, right? It's assets, liquid assets, right? Real estate is not a liquid asset. And if you have interest rates going up, well, guess what? Real estate is not a liquid asset. So therefore, you're going to have problems. And that's the whole point to this discussion, because what we're going to see now probably doesn't even relate to real estate. So forget real estate in this conversation, because that's got nothing to do with it. So as we're waiting for more people to join, we may not get many, but that's the premise of this update. And once you understand what we're about to see is a giant bull market, one that basically mimics the move from 1987 to 2000, right? It's going to happen again, right when everybody's feeling bearish, right? How many people have you heard that bought at the highs of crypto and then suddenly they lost money? Wow, that's peculiar, right? That tells you a lot about what's going on in the markets. There's a lot of fear. In fact, the bearish sentiment right now is the same as it was in March 2020. So that's definitely a reversal signal. Be greedy when everyone's fearful, as per Warren Buffett. So why wouldn't you be? Now, that's fine. We've only got a few viewers here, but those who want to hear it, they're here. Those who don't care, well, they might start to care after a few updates, and after this market starts to move up parabolically, you might start to get a few more people in this room. So be the first. That's great. All right. But I'm starting back with this thing. I'm starting back with the live streams because I believe we're going for bull. Nobody wants to live stream when it's a bear market. But that's why I stopped doing live streams when it was a bear market. Right. So now that I can see that this is going to move up in a big way, then, you really got to ask yourself, what do you think is going to happen? And do you know anyone who's going to tell you this type of information? the type of information that is not based on the mainstream media, right? So there's not many people. I totally understand that, and that's true. Four a.m. in the US, CW. Welcome, Johnny P. Welcome back once again. It's back on again. It's happening, right? So as more people enter, the one thing I want to say now is that my analysis has not been 100% in terms of how bullish I am, right? I've been bullish lately, but now I'm mega bullish, right? Only because I've stumbled across that type of analysis. I wouldn't be making this live stream right now if it wasn't mega bullish, because I don't like producing live streams during a bear market. I don't. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody can make money. It's boring. So what the hell? All right, so moving on. Let's start this off, all right? And all good, doesn't matter. Not many people here, but that's to be expected in these times. So let's share. All right, I'm going to share my screen one right now. Okay, so this is the Dow Jones since, well, we can go to the Great Depression, but as long as you understand that was an A wave, B up until 1987 crash, C was the 1987 crash, then we're in D wave, right? Now the D wave is the part that you should be worried about, because that's going to spell what comes next. Literally, it's going to tell you, it's literally telling you to your face what's coming next. And when I saw this, I mean, I've been looking at it for so long, but I decided to pull apart every single wave, as I mentioned before, right? So it's hard for me to continue to, you know, pretend like this is not happening. Good to hear, Johnny P. I would definitely be doing what you're doing. And it's not limited to XLM. This is the thing, right? Like, you got to look at it this way, right? You saw what happened here. Okay, let me go to, okay, just understand that this is a wave from 2000 to 2020. That's the B wave correction. Now I'll highlight it more in this next screen, just so you get an understanding of what I'm talking about here. All right. And just, you know, you got to understand my logic, right? There's no point me saying stuff and you don't understand the logic. And that's what I'm all about. If I don't make sense to me, how am I going to make sense to you? And how am I going to continue to produce this stuff if it don't make sense? It's stupid, right? It's retarded. All right. So we had a wave A in 2000, A, B, C, D. See, D was the one. If you haven't seen that video, go and watch it. D wave was the one that was so complicated. This one here, I've been thinking about this for so long. And the key components here, let's go, let's stick to the weekly chart for a second. You know, that A wave, that A, B, C, D, E, this part here was the one that has always been in the back of my mind. And I have a photographic memory. So I can understand different charts where this is, that E wave's gone lower. And you know what? Ariaswave allows E wave to go lower than C, right? And so there's no explanation otherwise to indicate that that's not the case. There is literally no explanation for why this wave would be lower in another chart compared to this chart, right? Look at the S&P 500, for example. So to me, everything that happened here, and mind you, the 2020 crash was the E wave. Why would this pattern be so sharp? You know, it's basically part of this correction. So therefore, what we're looking at here is the start of a new bull trend, a bull trend that's going to go up on the Dow Jones to like 130,000. Now, this is, it blows my mind that this is the case, because you got to think about it, right? Cryptos are now, obviously everybody knows that cryptos follow the stock market. So therefore, if we saw 2017 bull run in cryptos, that was literally the C wave of a D wave, right? That's got nothing to do with this new bull rally. So you've got to go back and you got to say, okay, end of 2020, March 2020, that move down is the beginning of a new era, the beginning of a new bull run, right? Now, okay, so you might be thinking, okay, well, why is it so choppy to begin with? Why did everything happen so choppy since the lows of 2020? Look at how choppy that is. It's ridiculous. Why would it be that? I mean, is it always amazingly obvious to you that there's a new opportunity on the horizon? Is it always so obvious to you that we're in a new bull market? It's not, especially when we're dealing with money printing and stimulus and the Federal Reserve Bank pumping up the tech stocks. That's all they do. All they do is pump up the tech stocks because they are the ones they trust not to lose their money. You know, like, how many times have I heard the same thing? You know, who are the biggest tech corporations? Well, let's give them money because, you know, they're going to use it well, even though they've got millions, if not billions of dollars in cash. The Federal Reserve said, you know what? You guys are going to lead the charge, which probably explains why a lot of other, you know, stocks are going down, even though this is about to do what it's going to do. Does that mean those stocks are not going to go up? Well, it depends on the quality of the stock. Maybe you should start looking into macro, you know, maybe start to look at, you know, what is it? Ben Franklin or Benjamin Graham? I can't remember the name. The one that Warren Buffett learned from, you know, that's a book that I read once, and it makes sense. You know, if you want to track a stock, go for the PE ratios and do your investigation on that. But fair enough. But to me, cryptos, you're not going to get that same information. You know, you can't use macro on crypto, you know, so, but cryptos produce the highest gains. They produce the highest percentage gains. So that kind of value investing goes out the window, right? And I think that's why Warren Buffett doesn't like it, or Charlie Munger, is because they can't really do the analysis that they're so used to doing with companies. They can't do that with crypto. But the fact that this market is going to probably go north, double, triple this market, I mean, I don't give a shit if I'm not Warren Buffett, right? I don't care because he doesn't understand this stuff anyway. So who cares? Now, if cryptos move with the stock market, then, and cryptos produce bigger returns, and you know, like, just think about this, right? I don't know if you've ever heard of Raoul Pal, Real Vision. This guy is literally all in on Bitcoin, right? Michael Saylor, all in on Bitcoin. Now, these are smart people, right? Why the hell would they be all in on crypto if it's just going to crash to zero? It's completely stupid. And what's more stupid is people like Jordan Belfort, calling cryptos a Ponzi scheme. I mean, the guy knows what a Ponzi scheme is, and God bless his soul. But he's probably thinking along the same lines of, it's all a Ponzi scheme because I don't understand it. Yeah, that's because you're so used to scamming people that of course you're going to think that way. How else would you think? You're not even built to understand. But lately he's been changing his tune, so fair enough. Matthew Fraser, yes, the move up, same as length of wave A. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that once the money comes out of real estate, especially real estate, that we're definitely going to see a move in. Well, where are people going to put their money, right? If interest rates are going up and house prices are going down in this final bull run for this wave D, I'm pretty sure, and I've heard this before, people are going to, they don't want to hold cash because cash depreciates over time, right? Obviously, due to inflation and money printing. But if you put your cash into something, that's not fiat, it's going to grow in value. And this is a testament to the amount of stimulus that they've pumped into this market since, well, the coronavirus crash, which was the wave E, apparently. I mean, I don't know if, this is why I try to tell people about Milton Friedman. It's all about inflation and it's all about the money supply. But there's another component to inflation, right? And that is that when you can have a lot of money supply, but that doesn't mean there's enough money velocity. But when that money velocity picks up, well, that usually means that there's more money chasing less goods and services because we're living in a world where there's less goods and services, right? Have you spoken to your local tradesmen lately? They can't even find workers anymore because they're all busy. They're all tapped out. There's a lot of demand. Right. And then let me remind you to hit that like button just so I can continue here because there's more to cover. So if we haven't even got to the point where we've started the C wave of this move, then obviously we're going to see a massive bull run in cryptos. Now, I've been looking at XLM, XRP, Doge, SHIB. I've been looking at all of these coins, been looking for a common theme. And after this analysis, I've been starting to realize a couple of things, right? So let's go to XLM for a moment. Well, let's go mainly to the STR chart, right? Now, I did say in my previous video, there's no need to look at what happened before March 2020. That's what you got the line right there, right? Because everything that happened before March 2020 was literally, if you go back to that Dow Jones, it was the end of a correction. Okay. See you soon. Sorry about that. My daughter's getting her hair done. So if you go back, right, if you look at this, right, look at this chart. Anything before March 2020, I don't care that that correction went for longer than the Dow Jones March 2020 crash. That's a complete 5-wave move, right? This is long-term crowd psychology, right? And that crowd psychology says that whatever B wave correction was happening since 2000, regardless of this wasn't around since 2000, it doesn't have anything to do with it. The point is that this is actually where it ends. This is the start of a new bull market, right? So let's take a closer look at this. Now, I'm not sure if I want to do it on this chart, right? I might switch to the XLM chart for a sec. But let's just take a look at this move. Oh, geez, I keep drawing stuff on here. It's not cool. All right. So since March 2020, now this move, I've called it all sorts of stuff. But according to what I'm seeing now, this is literally wave one. Okay, wave one. It's a shitty wave one. Okay, it's got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, right? And I'll show you why I believe that in a sec. But here you've got an A wave, right? A B wave, a C, a D, and an E, right? And you saw this little spike that happened. I've been reporting on this a little bit. That little spike, as much as you love to hate it, it's literally pointed out that we have broken wave E, right? There is no way that sort of thing would happen if it didn't mean something. And that broke wave E. That means that we are going up for wave 3 soon, right? Maybe you don't want to believe it. Maybe you do. It doesn't matter. The point is, you have to understand the larger picture here. And the larger picture here is telling us that we're about to see these cryptos head north. And literally, I don't even want to talk about the kinds of price targets that I'm seeing here, because that would literally blow your mind. I mean, if you're looking at the Dow Jones going from 30,000 to 130,000, I mean, what does that tell you? Right? And we all know that cryptos move a lot harder than the Dow Jones does. So what on earth could that basically be telling you that's going to happen? Right? Just think about it. Matthew says, hang on, I'm just going to change my. As money come out of the debt market. Okay, so that's the same message from before. Anyone else have any other questions they want to ask? I'm willing to answer any questions right now. Whilst I'm waiting, I'm going to go to the daily chart, and I'm just going to show you one thing. Right, this being wave one of a new bull market, the fib took us back down to 10 cents. That's 0.886 of a correction. I mean, look at it. It's a wave 1-2. Look at it. 1-2. Simple wave 2 correction. Welcome, flashback. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes, you are absolutely correct. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Absolutely. David Hunter says the same thing. All right. David Hunter is a 40-year Wall Street veteran, right? And yeah, he has the same damn view as I do, right? Except I started to think recently about that type of thinking, right? And I had that view all along, right? I thought they were going to see a massive crash. But then I took a look at the Dow Jones and I saw that it's going to go parabolic, like David Hunter says. But the thing is that it's just the beginning of the C wave. So we could see 5 years. Now, mind you, I was thinking, right? I was thinking that it's the same thing as what happened in 1929. So does that mean we're going to see a massive move up to 2029 and see a big crash? Look, it's possible, but why does it have to take that long? I mean, I know about cycles. I know we are at a solar minimum right now. I don't know if you know about sun cycles and stuff. We are definitely at a solar minimum, but I think that potentially that would have been March 2020, right? I think that's what the solar minimum bring us. But I think there's people look too much into, MSN and, sun cycles. Some people look into astronomy and all this stuff. Whatever. I just look into the waves and, I can see things. I can be wrong. Even I find myself trying to make things out of it's called bias, right? It's a bias, like I can show you why I came up with this idea. I can break it down to you right now, and it has a lot to do with the corrections that happened in 2017 run, right? I looked so closely to the chart and I'm like, okay, I thought that was a C wave. Oh, it was a complete correction. And the waves were so obvious that I'm like, I'm feeling stupid right now. I need to revise my count. But then I start thinking about, the move that happened recently in the STR chart. And I'm like, what does that mean? And then Dow Jones and this and that. I'm like, okay, you need to lift your game up. So here I am. I'm lifting my game up. That's why I'm saying about to see the biggest bull run ever. My next thought is that timing the top of this going to be it's not going to be difficult, right? Because it's not going to be short-lived. This is going to be a big run-up. So you can use a Dow Jones as a guide. You can use Bitcoin as a guide. Definitely use Bitcoin, right? The thing with Bitcoin is that it's a larger trend. And obviously it's like the granddaddy of crypto. So it's actually carved out a 1-2-1-2 pattern, whereas XLM's only carved out a 1-2 pattern. But that doesn't mean that XLM's not going to perform better than Bitcoin, right? Percentage wise. And if you take a look at the XLM BTC chart, you can see quite clearly that we're looking at a bigger percentage gain in XLM over BTC over the next few years. So to me, that's a given. And all these things come together to make you realize that what you're looking at here is very simply put a 1-2 pattern. It's just a 1-2 pattern. It's an easy pattern, but you had to figure out the rest of it first in order to come to that conclusion. Otherwise, it just looks like a bunch of squigglies on a chart. Matthew Fraser says, I'm playing catch up here. So where are we now entering wave 3 for XLM? Can you please explain why we are not in wave 5, just like BTC? Oh, yes. Yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem. Okay. All right. Let me go to the BTC chart for a second. I'll explain this to you. I've been thinking about this hardcore, and it's not what we think. It's not. And you know what? That's good, because most people are thinking shit, and it's not what they think. And it's not what I thought. Definitely not what I thought. Okay. So, take this wave 3, for example. Is that really a wave 3? Or is it a D? Is that a D? And is that an E? Right? Now you got to go back to the thinking that the Dow Jones completed this move down. Now, is this a 3-wave move or a 5-wave move? Because number one, it was never a 3-wave move to me. But then looking closely, it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is literally the end of that corrective pattern. It's part of that. So that means everything that happens from here is literally the beginning of something new, right? And this is the part that I've been thinking about lately. I'm like, Jesus, nobody's going to think about this. Nobody's going to, well, a lot of people would definitely wish that was true. And, you know, I'm just starting to believe that this is just the beginning, right? Now, we all know that inflation, even the Fed has lately admitted that inflation is about to skyrocket. And now they're just saying it out loud. You know, before they were saying inflation is transitory. Now you hear these people saying, well, we're going to expect a lot of inflation. And then you've got people saying, oh, there's a hurricane coming, the storm of the market's going to be deep recession, blah, blah, blah. It's all BS. It's not true. This is literally the bottom right now, right? 3,000 is the bottom for Bitcoin. You can't go lower than that. It's never going to go lower than that, ever, ever. That means Michael Saylor is never going to get thrown out of his trade. And that guy's levered up, not too much, but he's still levered up. So what that means is that Bitcoin is in a 1-2-1-2 pattern. So I haven't got it marked here, but I can easily change it. All you got to do is switch that 3 to a 1 and turn it green. Right? So instead of thinking it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's literally a 1-2-1-2 pattern. And that's the whole point I'm trying to make here, is that this is the beginning of a massive new trend. Right? That analysis actually serves a purpose. 1-2-1-2. What do you think is going to happen after that? 1-2-1-2. Massive, extremely stupid ass gains. It's going to be ridiculous. Like XLM could go. I'm not even going to say it. Right? I've done my analysis and I've got some targets, but I'm not going to say it right now because it's stupid. You wouldn't even believe me. But if you see where Bitcoin's going, it doesn't even seem like that hard to believe, to be honest. As long as you're in it, like Ra Powell says, as long as you're in the game, you will come out ahead in 5 years, I reckon. I reckon it'll take 5 years and you can turn this shit. You can multiply by more than 100, more than 1,000, more than 10,000x. Easy, easy. I don't like talking about that much because it's hard for people to believe it. Yes, Matthew, third of a third. Yes, third of a third. Especially for Bitcoin. When it comes to like XLM, because it's going to have so much percentage gain, I reckon it will subdivide as it moves up. So you get subdivision as it grows higher, but you won't get subdivision at the lows because it's not a big coin. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to have massive percentage gains. It just means that, you know, like it's going to be more impulsive to the upside straight away. Like as soon as this thing starts moving for everyone, Bitcoin will not outperform XLM, right? And I can see it on the XLM BTC chart. I can see it on there. So, yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is definitely like a safer, very, you know, more stable alternative for institutional buyers. Michael Saylor, for example, you know, investment funds and all that sort of stuff. And they're less likely to take a gamble on these altcoins. So, you know, but they're failing to recognize the fact that we're in a massive bull market now. All right. And I don't know if they're playing dumb because obviously they're talking down the market right now. They're trying to talk down the market. I don't know if you've heard that, but you've gone from before like it's transitory to now it's like it's a hurricane coming, but yeah, interest rates are going up. I don't know. You try to make sense of that. I don't even care about that. The thing is, the waves are telling me everything, and this thing is about to rock and roll. Bitcoin, I don't know, it looks like a clumsy little freak, right? But when you look at XLM, it looks like nimble. It could nimbly take out massive percentage gains here. So XRP as well. XRP has a very similar pattern, especially since I've started to look at it in this way. It's all made a hell of a lot of more sense. XRP is probably going to do just as well as XLM. In fact, they're probably going to be like in competition with each other. Right? They're probably going to both be like just creating maximum gain. And also, like, you look at ADA, like, you got to start looking at these things from 2020, right? Whenever you look at a chart, and this is why, like, I'm thinking, oh shit, a lot of coins don't have much data before 2020. It doesn't matter anymore. 2020 is good enough. Like SHIB, for example, right? SHIB is literally a massive buy right now, especially when you think about what's going to happen. That shit is cheap as hell. It's cheap as. Buy some SHIB, put $1,000 in it, give it 10 years, 5 years. Damn, there's going to be some big returns there. I mean, there's so many coins. I mean, especially if you look at it from a 2020 perspective, 1, 2, right? And if you can see 3 waves up, that means it's 1, 2, 1, 2. It's going to be huge. A lot of these coins are going to explode. XDC. All right, let's have a look at XDC. Yeah, you see what I mean? 2020. It doesn't matter if you have 2020 data anymore. See, if you didn't understand, anyway, I don't know what other people think, but in my opinion, if you didn't understand this particular principle right now, where's the 2020 low? Yeah. Sure. Makes sense. So it's the same kind of thing, right? I don't know, let me fix this up. I had this problem before. I don't know why my lines are getting a bit weird here. All right, so look at this from like a 2020 start off perspective. You got a 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you're looking at. 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't think it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. It's alternation. It's alternation for what's ahead, right? You got alternation here, and then you're probably going to get like a parabolic move to the upside, right? It's probably going to look something like this. Oh, hang on. Probably going to get like wave 3 exploding, and then that alternation is going to come back again, small, and then deep. What is that? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. It's not going to stop going up. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to stop. Like literally the other day, I was calculating how much XLM could go to according to this measure. The first target I got, if you doubled the 2017 move, which is probably not a good idea to do, but it doesn't mean anything because this is going to be much bigger than 2017. It's like 354 per XLM, right? And that was just like a straight up doubling of that move since the lows. Insane, right? And then if you double that again, you don't even want to know. You don't want to know. Like the one thing that I've been thinking about lately, and this is probably so true, right? Just because Bitcoin has gone up the way it did up until now, we're living in a different paradigm. This is a paradigm shift, right? This is going to be where coins catch up like hell, crazy. Up until we hit that top, Dow Jones hits 133, we're going to we're going to get all these altcoins absolutely balloon and skyrocket to the top. Why is that? You got to ask yourself why. Is it because of utility? Is it because of inflation? I mean, I'm pretty sure that all the shit projects will fail. I mean, take a look at Luna, crap, right? And then obviously the guy who made 2.0, Don Kwan, whatever his name is, right? Obviously he knew that there's some big shit going on. So he has to come up with something quickly. The day after he's producing 2.0. I mean, obviously the guy knows that this is something big's going to happen here. You have to be in the game, right? You have to be in the game. Even Luna 2.0 will probably skyrocket. Who cares? What happened was an accident. It was shit. It was crap, right? Stablecoin collapse. It's not good, right? The whole thing's a stupid scam, whatever. But that's the thing. We live in this world now where assets are more important than fiat currencies. So being invested in an asset is more important than having cash, because that shit ain't going to grow, right? Because it's useless. It's worthless, right? Even though like XLM has like 50 billion, I think, max supply, he's still doing a lot better than what the hell the US dollar's doing, and that's the whole point. The whole system with these central banks across the world, it's the same thing. Everywhere you go, it's the same thing. They're all bloody printing money like crazy. And all they're doing is inflating the value of cryptos, literally, without even trying. That's why cryptos is the best way to go right now. And I've completely switched my outlook into cryptos. As long as it's not a scam project, it's shit and has like holes in it and is a really bad project, right? And is like, hackable and completely stupid. I'd go with the top 20 coins or top 50, whatever the hell you think, right? Whatever you believe in. It doesn't matter. If we're going to go into this bull run now, as long as you have a bag of the best or a bag of like top 20, top 10, whatever, I reckon you become a millionaire from not even much money over the next 5 years. I'm saying that now. That's why I'm pretty sad that a lot of people didn't get to hear this, because it's actually like something that a lot of people don't understand, and the thing is, like, since the May highs of last year, or even, like a few months ago, the market's gone down. So people have been like, I've been hearing some friends saying, oh, my friend lost money in Bitcoin as the market crashed. I'm like, yeah, but you're only losing if you sell it. How could you call that a loss if you just hold on to it? That's the thing. A lot of people don't understand. And that's taught me a big lesson, especially now after this new analysis. Dollar cost average, buy where you can, get your granny's inheritance, whatever the hell you got, shove it right in there. And this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, right? Excuse me. I have a bit of a cold. Now, we've run over time for sure. This was meant to be a 45-minute conversation, but I'm glad to be back, and I'm going to be doing more of these soon. Probably like weekly, I reckon. So, yeah, I mean, whatever you want to talk about, I've had enough time since the last lot of live streams to really just answer any question. I see the waves the way they are. I listen to all sorts of stuff. I process I analyze not just waves, but people, mainstream media. Like, I'm a contrarian, like David Hunter, right? Complete contrarian. And I reckon he's right. I don't even know how right he is, to be honest, because I think he's underestimating how right he is at this point. I think he doesn't understand how stupid crazy this whole thing is going to be. So, going back to this whole XLM thing, we're looking at a 1-2 pattern. 1-2. No problem. Anyway, look, it's about time that I started to come back, and I'm glad I'm back. Good to see you, Invino. Very good. Welcome. I mean, my knowledge has grown so much. Like, I made Ariaswave, but now my analysis using Ariaswave has improved so much. And the one takeaway that I can give you advice if you ever do decide to learn Ariaswave is to look at the bigger picture on every chart, especially the Dow Jones. Once you figure that shit out, it literally opens the door for everything else. It gives you like a roadmap to what's coming. And right now I can see a massive, massive pump in cryptos in general, but XLM, this is like a 1-2 pattern. 1-2 of a new bull market. So that's the type of thinking that you should have in your mind. Now I'm starting to think all those XLM, XRP pumpers on YouTube, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. And I used to think, oh, these guys, they're just talking it up so much. But wow, I really do bloody see it now. Those guys are right onto something. So, damn. I mean, it's that perseverance, that determination, that freaking heart to really believe in a product, believe in a project, They actually got something going for them. Like, they may not, maybe it's not happening straight away, but Jesus, after 5 years from now, I can probably say they'll be millionaires easy. Thank you very much. Yes, in great shape. Got a bit of a cold, but don't worry about it. Yeah. So next week I'll be posting some more. I hope to see some more up, price moving up in this. It is bloody huge, Matt. It's bloody huge as hell. And that's the thing. Like, last night I went to bed and I was like, holy shit, this changes everything. Literally, how the hell am I going to tell people this? So I thought I'd do a live stream and just share it with the select few people who decided to join. And you guys are literally first in. So I will be posting this, obviously, around the place so people can see it. But the truth is that I never thought that this was possible. Like, until I saw that Dow Jones analysis, that thing changed my whole view. And that's why I said it changes everything, because it does. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, inflation, money printing, money supply, money velocity, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. As long as it's telling me to buy, I'm going to buy. Hell, I'm going to buy a shitload. Just don't take my advice too seriously. I'm not a financial advisor, but Jesus Christ. How else do you want to look at this? Anyway, guys, I think that's it. We're wrapping it up, 1 hour. So stay tuned, pay attention to when I post new updates for live stream next week. And I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you very much.